I am so immensely happy to report that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is returning to the United States, returning to his home and to his family. Donald Trump and his DOJ will charge him with two crimes of transporting migrants, but you know what? He gets due process. That's all Democrats wanted. We wanted him to have a fair trial, have due process, and uphold the Constitution of the United States. So this is a major win for the United States of America. All of you people, all of you MAGA people that cheered this on and hoped that he'd never return to his family, never get due process, you were wrong. You were wrong. Just remember that.
And somebody responded, you act like he's coming back to his family. He's going straight to jail and is facing trafficking charges. This guy is a dirtbag, and you and your brother are decided to make this case of Jesus Christ. Wow. This guy is a bad person. And his defense was where he will make bail over the relative minor charges. Minor charges? Are you sure?
The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor.
Man, that is fucking funny. Why? It's funny because these people turned this guy into a martyr. These people treated him better than they treated their own citizens. You had Congress people going all the way down to El Salvador to meet with this guy, and it turns out that he was a career human trafficker. The media and Democrats pushed this guy as if he was a loving father whenever he had multiple records of being a wife beater.
People are forgetting what his wife said.
And I know this is a sensitive question, but I have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay. And you know, I'm not going to push on that, apparently.
Imagine if it was charged with, I don't know, wife abuse or anything, family member abuse, whatever. And you ask me about it, what do you have to say about that? And my response is, well, they're alive. I have nothing to say.
He's not even a citizen, but he's called Maryland Man.
He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. The grand jury found he made over 100 trips smuggling people throughout our country. Abrego Garcia is also alleged with transporting minor children. Defendant traded the innocence of minor children for profit. The defendant abused undocumented alien females, according to co-conspirators. A co-conspirator alleged that the defendant solicited nude photographs and videos of a minor.
And the party of protecting women is like, we're not going to look into that. We need due process. As if they didn't do due process already. 2 criminal judges were like, hey man, you gotta go, but you can't go because there's somebody in Salvador that might do something about it. But then again, isn't Salvador right now one of the safest country right now? Because Bukele made it very safe.
Maryland Man. I wonder how that senator's feeling who went all the way down to El Salvador to have dinner with him.
A co-conspirator also alleges the defendant played a role in the murder of a rival gang member's mother.
It's not, and that's just the end of the clip. I don't even know if that's everything. They defended this guy? Dude, they went to bat for him. They made this guy out to be a fucking martyr.
I'm surprised Brian thinks this guy is going to get bail when he supposedly, allegedly has smuggled people. I don't know. It's just, it's just a wild idea. Why is it a wild idea? I've never seen Congress people do so much for a citizen, generally speaking. But for an undocumented person, I've never seen that before.
She especially focused on the idea that Democrats defended Kilmar Abrego Garcia, even though he, of course, is alleged to have committed these crimes. Do you think that Democrats risk politically playing into the president's hands by focusing on this case?
First of all, I don't know of a single Democrat who defended him.
He was falsely arrested and removed from the country. So now they're making up all this stuff about MS-13. Or, you know, let's say he was responsible for the January 6th attack and he coordinated the assault on 140 police officers. They're making up things against a guy who's never been prosecuted, much less convicted of anything.
Isn't that wild? Like 2 months ago, you said something totally different, and now you're so confident and nobody said anything. Sir, it came from your mouth.
First of all, I don't know of a single Democrat who defended him. specifically against any crimes because he wasn't charged with any crimes. He doesn't have any criminal history, to my knowledge, or a criminal record, and there were no charges outstanding when he got unceremoniously picked up and flown out of the country. I mean, that's called a disappearance. That's what happens in authoritarian societies. They obviously want to make this about whether or not he ends up being a good guy or a bad guy, but it's not a moral question. It's a legal question. It's a constitutional question of whether the government can pick people up and take them out of the country. And I think the Supreme Court has been fairly emphatic about this. Due process is for everybody. Sometimes I hear my MAGA colleagues say, you're for due process for guilty people? Well, yeah, because we don't know if they're guilty or they're innocent until we've had due process. That's the whole point of due process.
I just find it odd that you want due process for something they did in the country when already in the country they're illegal. They were supposed to go back.
On video. You all are completely downplaying what we know. We know plenty about this person. What? We know that he lived in the country illegally for 14 years. I know it's okay with you.
I said that.
That's not
Time out. No.
We know.
That's not. That is not okay with me. But that's not. But that's not a. But that is literally.
First of all, we all know that you both interrupt each other all the time.
That is not a crime.
To live in the country illegally?
That's not a crime. That's a status offense. Stop telling people stuff that's not true.
If you come in the country illegally, ChatGPT confirms it's a crime. But if you overstay a visa, it's a status offense, which means this Democrat believes if you're illegally in a country, you might be on a visa. And if you stay too long, that's a status offense.
That's an interesting way of putting. That makes sense.
But even ChatGPT disagrees with that. I'm like, come on, people.
Just my mind is so blown here.
Go ahead and
by
finish.
the last 2 nights.
Scott,
it's not a criminal offense.
Bakari, just
It's a civil violation.
Bakari, can we give Scott?
He's in the country illegally 14 years. That's number one. We also know what his wife told the courts and law enforcement about him. That he was violent, that he beat her.
But he's not being charged with that.
That he was.
Hearsay?
That he was. So you said we don't know if he's a bad guy.
We don't.
I trust his wife when she runs off and says, "Please protect me from
What
this
if his
man."
wife said this man's great? You wouldn't trust her. That's insane.
You're acting like we don't know things. We
Prosecute
do know
him.
things. We
Prosecute
know.
him.
And so,
Prosecute him.
at a minimum, what we know should be more than enough for anybody at this table to say, yes, please
Scott,
get him the hell out.
Let me ask you this. Do you
prosecute him.
Let me ask you this. Do you think they charged him to try to save face? Yes or no? Honestly,
I think
do
they
you
charged him
believe
because
they
he
charged him
committed
with a crime
crimes.
to try to save face? Yes or no?
I think they charged him because he committed serious crimes, apparently.
Scott,
that's why
This happened in Tennessee, and a grand jury, which is about 13 people, decided he committed a crime. Unless you're telling me you don't want to believe in the grand jury.
Can we agree on this? He should be prosecuted for domestic violence. He should be prosecuted for every crime he committed. And when he's found guilty, he should be deported.
I think he should be deported anyway, regardless of this other stuff.
That-
To me,
but-
the only
Yes.
issue that
So
ever
does
really
the
mattered was that he was in the country illegally.
Does the Constitution work or not?
Yeah, and he had a deportation.
But now we're
order.
bringing into where the
Okay.
Justice Department is being
He had a
used for political
deportation order.
reasons, and that shouldn't happen.
We're gonna hit pause on this conversation, but look, I mean, you're right. He had. He was in proceedings, and the proceedings were determining where he could go. They sent him to the wrong place. Honestly, the judge just said bring him back so that he can finish that process and be sent to the right place.
Justice.
And the Trump administration could have done this 2.5 months ago. They didn't, and it is perplexing. Now we have charges. We'll see what happens to with the charges. In this country, whether you're legal or illegal, you're innocent until proven guilty. We'll let this play out. We'll continue to follow it. Dante Mills, thank you very much.
And now even lawyers are saying maybe bringing him back to America might have been a mistake.
Big mistake, big blunder by his lawyers. His lawyers never, ever should have tried to bring him back to the United States. They should have filed a motion having him transferred from El Salvador or Nicaragua, where maybe there was some fear, to another place, say Argentina or Brazil. He might be a free man today if they had done that. Remember that he was ordered deported. The only flaw in the order was where he was sent, not whether he was sent. And so I think he may spend a long time in prison. If he's found guilty, he's presumed innocent. But if he's found guilty, he's going to spend a long time in prison complaining about his ideological, radical lawyers who made a hero out of him and try to get him back to the United States when that was not in his own self-interest. So lawyers made the most fundamental mistake a lawyer can make, putting ideology before the best interest of the client.
One quick bounce question, and then I'm coming to the gov. Professor, the idea of what America should have done with him, why these charges from a traffic stop that didn't seem to amount to much when it happened, instead of challenging the stay of removal?
Well, they can do both. That's the problem with what the lawyers did. They're going to have a trial. If he's convicted, they're happy. But if he's acquitted, they can still bring the deportation charges because the standard of proof is very different in deportation charges. All they would have to do is deport him to a country where he could not make a plausible claim that he's in danger. So from the government's point of view, it's a win-win to do it this way.
It actually saddens me because for the political win, you actually made him be locked up maybe way longer in America than another country where he can speak his own language.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Turlo que ta verdetta welcome.